Welcome to the Principled Women in Business podcast with your host, Lauren Dulgeru, aka The Solutionist. You are about to discover priceless insight, experiences, and perspectives that will inspire and empower you to break down your own obstacles and reprogram your own limiting beliefs. All while raising women business owners to the pedestal that has been long awaiting, the coronation of true principled women in business. Welcome to the Principled Women in Business podcast.
Welcome to the Principled Women in Business podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Dulgeru, aka The Solutionist. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the nation's #1 female business strategist. I help business owners just like you to start, capitalize, grow, scale, and ultimately exit their businesses for that big payday and that maximum valuation. Here on the Principled Women in Business podcast, we're here to talk about the obstacles, the problems, what we're struggling with in our business. Because the reality is there's always a solution. And they call me the Solutionist. So I'm here to help you unravel those problems, those obstacles, those limiting beliefs, so that we can move you and your business to the next level. Because indeed, there is no such thing as a glass ceiling. You just need a mentor to help you get moving.
Welcome to the Principled Women in Business podcast.
You had mentioned to me when we first met that you made this huge pivot in your 40s. And to a lot of women, even just men and women, that is in some cases terrifying because you've spent most of your professional career doing one certain set of behaviors or going to a job, and now you're doing something so different. What did you find was your key master hack to really smoothing out that transition so that you can start this website? And what were you doing before? And then what skills did you bring over to help you pivot into Orlando Family Fun?
So I will divide it into two parts because actually when I decided to go all into Orlando Family Fun, I still did have that old job that I was freelancing for as income coming in. So I hadn't fully pivoted at that point. It was, I want to, and I'm trying to set myself up in order to do this. And so the full pivot actually just occurred a couple months ago because I started my second company, which is the social media marketing company that kind of is not necessarily an offshoot, but came about because of this, because I had to do and learn social media in order to promote Orlando Family Fun. I was like, well, I can help other people do the same thing. But what was happening is when you try to have a business, there's only so much time that you have in a day. And especially because surprisingly, I got busier at my old job that used to require a lot of travel because I did a lot of meetings. Now everyone was doing meetings online and it was meetings all day, every day. So I was actually working more because people didn't have to fly anywhere. There was no flight time. There was no downtime. You could drop off of one meeting and go to another meeting. So that just meant I was spending more time there and I didn't really have any time to work on either one of my businesses. So I said to myself,
Welcome to the Principled Women in Business podcast.
If I want these to grow and this is where I want to be, then I have to step out on faith, so to speak. And I did speak to a coach and we talked about it. And she said, she can't tell me what to do, but her recommendation would be to leave that other job and move 100% into what I am doing. It did take about a month to 6 weeks for me to, get comfortable with that because I'd been at this other job for about 17 years and I know no one does that anymore in terms of staying somewhere that long.
It's difficult to do because we become creatures of habit, right? Mm-hmm. And our human brains take over and then we become kind of like this autopilot thing. So when we decide that we're going to move forward and really invest in ourselves, invest time in our business, that becomes that really uncomfortable, almost kind of scary spot. I say uncomfortable, but in my own lifestyle, if I become comfortable, I know that I'm complacent. So I try to keep myself always in a place where I am uncomfortable. I am challenging myself and I am pushing forward. I am also one of those crazy breeds of people that thrives off of everything different. How did you work through that initial shock of uncomfortable and get yourself to the point, like you said, like you were comfortable moving into this place? How did you do that, one? And what would you tell our audience here is like your key master hack to make this happen?
So I talked to, besides the coach, I did talk to a couple of other people, and surprisingly, no one was like, yes, jump. Everyone told me you need to stay where you are, because with the way the world is right now and money and things like that. So I think that was part of what kept me paralyzed for a little bit, is just that nobody else was supportive of the idea of me moving forward. But then at the end of the day, I knew where I was, and there was a ceiling, because I've been at that ceiling for a long time, but it was comfortable there, and I was okay there. But, there have been a lot of changes in my life recently. And so that's behind the scenes that required me to start making more money. It required me to say, okay, this comfortable level that I was at is not enough anymore, because I can't do what I need to do there anymore, by myself, basically. And so I had to say, I spent a lot of time in school. I did all of this stuff. I have all this knowledge. And instead of just being complacent and staying where I am, where I know there's no room for growth, that there is a money ceiling, that I need to, again, step out on faith, take a chance on me, and say, I am the driver of my own success. I get to choose how much I work. I get to choose the effort that I put in. And that is going to determine what I make my success. And then also, I want to have something to leave. So if my kids want to do this, they can take over my business, or I can sell my business. It's up to me. But I have now given myself choices, and I'm building wealth for me and generational wealth for my kids. In terms of the hack, there really is no hack per se.
I don't like the word hack, but hack, quote,
yes.
end quote. We all know it's not a hack, but it's that tool, that time saver, that aha moment.
So it is more just of having a belief in yourself and knowing that this can be successful. Because I believe a good part of success is just believing that you can do it.
Yes.
And I had to reframe my mindset, because a lot of my mindset was around, well, I'm not getting this, or this is not happening, or why is that person, getting 5 clients and I'm not finding any, so it's reframing your mindset to the positive, to say, hey, I just started and I already have 1 client, or I've had 2 clients. Maybe it didn't work out, but I just started doing this. Or I'll look at my magazine and I'll say, oh, I don't have a lot of ads right now, or my numbers aren't where I want them to be. But then I'll go back and I'll look at a year ago. My numbers have gone up. I don't even know how many percentage, it's over 100%. It's probably at like 1,000% in numbers from last year to this year. But then when you start comparing yourself to other people, they're like, I have 100,000 page views. And you're like, oh, I only have 40. A year ago, I had 5,000. So,
I think that so many of us business owners do make that mistake. And I don't want to make that failure, because it is feedback in comparing yourself to someone else. Because in reality, everyone has a very unique set of skills, perception, how we're seeing things objectively or lack thereof, or processes and goals. So comparing yourself to someone else doesn't to you any value, because now you're putting yourself in that mindset, like you said, that you're not up to snuff. And it's really all about knowing without a shadow of a doubt that you bring the value. You are the value. You have that unique thing. And whether or not we're 25, 37, or 52. I don't think any of us are unique in that place, but I think we need to grab ourselves by the shirt, pull ourselves back, and be like, no, you are completely unique. What you're offering is highly special. You can't compare yourself to someone else because they're not even offering the same thing.
And I think what is important about that also is that you don't know what they're doing. So I was comparing myself a lot to someone who is a lot younger than me by like about 20 years, has no kids, is a bit of a workaholic, but is that what I want to be in terms of working all the time? Even if I wanted to work all the time, I can't. I have to pick up my kids. I have to make dinner. I have to spend time with them, because otherwise this would all be wasted, because part of the reason I did this was so I'm spending more time with my kids and I'm not traveling more. So I can't compare myself to a 20-something who has no kids, no other responsibilities, and can work all the time if they basically want to. And even if I could, so if my kids were staying with my sister or my mom or something, is that the type of life that I want? Maybe for a few months to get the business off the ground, but I wouldn't want to maintain that lifestyle. So I think we sabotage ourselves by looking at other people, by not realizing what they're doing to get to that place. And then I also saw this great picture the other day. It was like a cheerleader hugging someone in the stands. And then under the cheerleader was another cheerleader, like holding her up. And I think we sometimes forget that people have different support structures than we have. They came from a different amount of money. They have a different amount of savings, so there are a lot of other things, or they could have been doing this a really long time and are now making that amount of money or have that amount of success. And we're thinking, oh, it just happened. And why can't it just happen for me? So I think you need to focus on your own race. And that's what I'm trying very hard to do, is to not compare myself, because I'm in a mastermind group with a lot of other people that do what I do in terms of social media marketing. Sure. And it's learning that I'm not comparing myself to them. It's getting good ideas, getting help, because they have done a lot of the things that I want to do or want to implement, and getting that from them, but know that I'm running my own race at my own pace. I can speed up, I can slow down. Do I want to be where they are? Maybe, maybe not. Do I need to make $1 million? Maybe, but maybe not. Do you want to make $1 million? Maybe, maybe not. I know a lot of people who don't, because of the amount of effort that is required to put into that. They're happy at a lesser amount where they can have a great life. They're comfortable. They don't want to work weekends. They don't want to work evenings, both of which I do right now. So it's all about choices and what works best for you, what works best for your family, and just don't let other people or their lifestyle pressure your goal. It's what makes you happy. And that's what I'm working on right now.
That's a daily journey. I know that I'm going to come from a place of experience here. It took me a while to really learn how to keep and hold and be in my mindset where I am on this journey. I am doing something very specific that, maybe 4 or 5 other people in the nation might do. I'm a very specialized professional, and with such, I have a very specialized education. So as much as I look at other people, other business, I can't even say strategists, there's not that many. I can't compare myself to them because they don't have the knowledge in private banking, private financier, debt, leverage, consumerism. They just don't have that. They can read a balance sheet and read between some numbers, but there's not that total all-encompassing skill set. And it is a unique journey. No matter where you're at or what your goals are, they're special to you. And you have to always, be loyal to yourself.
Mhm.
You never want to look back in the mirror and say, wow, why did you do that? That didn't make sense to you now. Why doesn't even make sense right this second? Why did we do that? And when we reflect on that, we realize that we were comparing ourselves to someone that we had no business comparing ourselves to. And staying focused, I use the parallel of pulling my own self back by the collar of my shirt, and really telling myself, like, this is our journey. We can't compare. We're all in our own processes, and as I get older, and as my business partners get older, that pivot does seem overwhelming. And staying in your focus, in your journey, and what you want becomes easier. So there's now you know what you want. That's the easier part because we've had more years on this earth. But still, keeping yourself straight to not compare yourself to other business owners and their journey, which isn't applicable, doesn't work. But you also mentioned something else that I would really love to circle back to. I work with so many business owners, and I don't hear this particular statement that you made enough. You said that ultimately you may end up passing your business on to your kids or selling it. And so many of us business owners, we just start a business because we want our time back. We want to have freedom of choice. We want to do things that we love. But we have to start off with the end in mind. For example, we're growing a business. Let's grow it and optimize the valuation to sell it. Grow it with that mindset all along, and then you can optimize the valuation and truly get that big payday, that generational wealth. Because I know that I never went into business because I just wanted to, I always wanted to do my own thing. If you knew me, shocker. But I want my son to have something that he doesn't have to go to a place for a paycheck where he's undervalued, underpaid, and treated poorly. I did that. I don't want that for him. So starting all of these businesses wasn't just about my own freedom, but it was about those who are coming after me. And even if I do sell off all of my businesses, that generational wealth passes on to them so they can buy the business that they love, so that they can create the business that they love. Like you said, it goes to your kids. I fully hope that Dominic, really does want to be a private banker, a private financier. I really do. But if that's not his path and he finds himself, having this business that he doesn't want, well, now you have a team that can run it and generational wealth, so you can go create something more. And my point was, doing all of, creating these businesses isn't just about the now, isn't just about putting food on the table now, but it's creating more for those that come after us. Because we've had those hard lessons. We've been in jobs that make us miserable. You're sitting there in the car and you're willing yourself to turn the ignition key. You will yourself to work. I can do this. I can do the 8 hours. You get to lunch, you're like, oh my gosh, there's only 4 hours left. I can do this. Remember?
That's why I would specifically take my lunch later. So when I got back, I would only have about 3 hours left of the day before I had to go home. So.
And then you only have that final stretch. But you remember those days? And I would never want my boy or his kids or anybody who's related or knows me to be in that cycle, because it's not a comfortable cycle. Nobody wants to will yourself to put the key in and I can do this 8 hours. And then you've got your boss coming to you to scream at you some more. Nobody wants that. So that's why we start businesses, but we really want to think of the end and grow it so that there is more when we do want to exit, when we do want to give it to our kids. Because if we're not growing, my team always says, destination determines direction. Start a business, and let's say in 20 years, I want to sell it, but I want to sell it for $10 million. That means I need to take actions every single day that's going to increase my valuation. It's going to increase my balance sheet, my asset list, and create a more robust offering to my future buyer. And I wish more business owners, particularly women business owners, understood that this is so much more than just here and now. This is, we went through this whole process. We went through all of this uncomfortableness, all of this feedback, these transformations, these learnings, stubbing your toe on saying the wrong thing on video, to give it to somebody else to have more. I was speaking to one of my very close friends, also a client of mine, earlier this week, and it came up the topic of, growing your business to one day sell it. And she looked at me, she's like, oh no, I'm never going to sell it. It's my baby. But that also means that once you stop operating in that business, you don't have that benefit and that impact in your community, in your followers. And now you're kind of shorting the world in value, in love, and in resources. So selling businesses, small businesses is what made America. Right? It was those mom and pops businesses. And if the kids didn't take it over, you sold it. No big deal. Same idea, but the value and the impact still comes from these businesses 50, 60, 70, even 100 years later. And keeping small business alive, especially in America, is so terminally important, especially when now we're so bombarded with your Amazons, your Walmarts, your Targets, all of these big conglomerates that are really just a bottom line. They don't much care about the impact and the value that they're bringing to their customers, their communities, their families. And having that full scope of impact, we believe, is so important to really rethreading together our community so that, we can rely on each other. Remember the old phrase, it takes a village? Somehow that went away. Somehow that went by the wayside. And we only use that as it applies to children. But in all actuality, it takes a village. It applies to everything, being able to reach out and ask for help. Hey, my business, we're kind of going through this. I have a hard time doing that. What do you think? And there comes in that village mentality again. So I think
a lot of business owners, especially when you get started and you're working from home and you're by yourself, you are all alone and you have no one to talk to, you have no one to discuss strategy, to discuss marketing, to help you with what you want to do. And it can feel isolating, like you're on an island all by yourself. And so one of the things I would definitely recommend to people is that they find like a mastermind group, whether or not it's online or in person. So people that you can bounce ideas off of, people that can help you. So you're in banking and I know you have your partners, but when you started out, if you didn't know about marketing, then you could have someone in the group who could say, hey, this is what I would recommend. This is how you market best. This is how you can start, going on TikTok. And then if that person didn't know how to set up a balance sheet to get a loan, then you would help them. And so you could kind of utilize the skills of other people to help you grow, because when you're starting out, you can't afford to pay anyone. And so,
oh my gosh. So actually you can, me now. I can help all business owners access $50K in 90 days. And you don't even have to be a personal guarantor. Everything that they've told us business owners on how to obtain capital for our businesses never benefited the business owner. Sorry, that topic makes me particularly crazy because I know when I first started off in business, they said I had to be the personal guarantor. My social security number had to back it. And if something went wrong, they were coming after me. But let me ask you a question. Is that what Warren Buffett does? Is that what Donald Trump ever did? No.
Definitely no.
No. Don't get me wrong. Businesses do fail. Donald Trump's businesses have failed. He has filed bankruptcy. But he set himself up from the very get-go to obtain capital to grow the business, even though the business failed, but it never made him liable. So many business owners are going out there and they're getting personal loans or using their savings or using their credit cards, which is depleting everything that we have at the house and putting it into a business. But with just a little bit of education, having a conversation, you can access pure business capital that's not tied to your social security number, that doesn't make you liable, that doesn't put you in a position to lose your house, your retirement, your investments. There is another way. Sorry, you said capital and funding, and boy, I love capital and funding, especially in business.
So, but, but information like that, because I didn't know that. And I'm certain there are a lot of people out there who don't know that. Just like I know there are people out there who don't know how to market themselves online or how to best present themselves in video. But you can rely on skills from some of the other people in your group or in your mastermind. And even if you're not using their skills, it's just the fact of coming together and talking about some of the things that you're going through that they will understand, because they have a small business as well. Because it's also isolating when you try to talk to a spouse, or when I try to talk to my mom, she doesn't understand what I do. I still get the question, what are you doing all day? I'm working. It's a little bit better now that a lot of people are now working remotely. But a couple of years ago, people would think that I was doing nothing because I was at home.
Hanging out on the computer.
I'm hanging out at home, and
social media.
I'm free for lunch at any time, or free whenever you call me, sort of thing, because I'm at home. But now more people understand that when you're at home, you're actually working more, because when I'm in the office and I go to the water cooler or I talk to someone for 20 minutes, I'm still getting paid for that. If I'm at home, even if I'm working for the company, I don't charge them for the time that I'm going to make my tea, or I'm walking around the house, or if I go do something, I'm not on the clock. So I feel like the mastermind that I have been in has helped a lot, because I don't think I would have made it as far this quickly without them, because they have provided a lot of information. They have provided support. They've provided motivation. When I have questions, I can ask and I get it answered. So I would very much recommend finding that support group, because I think that can make or break your business, having those people, that village, like you said, behind you.
And, having that support group, that community where everybody is on the same wavelength. So often we have this term family, but the reality is, not everyone goes through this, but the reality is family doesn't always support us. Family has this very small picture of who we are. And the second we try to grow out of that kind of makes them feel weird, like they don't know us anymore. So we reach out to a community where we're all working towards the same goals, and we all have this inner feeling of we're moving forward. And in my own experience, that's my closer family, because you guys are my ride or dies. You guys are my business partners. You understand the things that me, my clients, my other businesses are going through. You've already done it, or you're on your way to doing it. But even if you don't know the solution, the very concept of being able to have a conversation without the backstory, or without, you should just go back to work, is critical.
And I think the part that you said about your family may not be supportive, it's going to be even more so when you're trying to make a shift in your 40s, especially if you've had what people would consider a successful career. My family's from the Caribbean, and so they're very focused on careers, doctor, lawyer, engineer. And so making the shift was kind of like, well, what are you doing? You're Ivy League educated. You went to Oxford to get your MBA. And now you're like, I want to run a family magazine online. And I'm going to start my own social media marketing agency. It doesn't compute. So the support that you would expect to get, and the support that you might get in your 20s, is very different from when you're in your 40s with an established job, career, family, kids. It's going to be, I heard of lot, don't leave shore for unsure. That's one of my sister's favorite sayings, kind of thing. Or, well, you can always go back. Why don't you continue to stay and just work part-time? There was a lot of that. There wasn't 100% support. Yes, go after your dream. And I don't know if it's necessarily because they're not supportive. I think it comes from a place of fear, and a place of the unknown.
Absolutely.
a place of uncomfortability because a lot of people wouldn't do this themselves. And so they don't want you to fail. And I know there are probably some people who actually don't want you to succeed either. But I think in terms of your family, it's more that they don't want to see you fail. They're afraid for you. And that fear makes them unsupportive. So just know that if you're in your 40s and you are looking to make this change and make this pivot, you are going to have to find the strength within yourself and find that new support group, like you said, of people
that new
who
support
are
group.
in
And if you
business.
Can't find it, Mikaela and I are here because together we are kicking butt and we are taking names. There is no such thing as permanent failure, because what is failure? Let's do that. What is failure?
Failure is, to me, the unwillingness to try or not trying at all. Because because failure, as how we term it is right now, is when something doesn't work out. But a lot of people, their first business, second business, sometimes third business didn't work out. And the fourth one is a success. Yeah. So it's, if you didn't learn anything from what was termed a failure by society and made some changes, then that is also a failure. But I think, so like my first 2 clients, they didn't work out in my new business. And I could have said, oh my goodness, I'm going to stop here and I'm not going to continue on. But now I have 4 clients, and they're 4 new clients. And I kept going. I kept learning more skills. I kept, reaching out, trying to get new business, instead of just saying, oh my gosh, I failed because this person didn't like what I did. I couldn't help this person the correct way. I couldn't do what I thought I'd be able to do. Let me curl up into a ball. Did I have a couple days of that? Absolutely. But it is working through that and moving on. So the pity party, you can have it, but it can only last a day or 2.
That's it. And see, you're generous. I say we can have a pity party, but we're only getting 10 minutes. And then we're going to scrape ourselves together. We're going to put ourselves back together, because failure isn't failure. It's only feedback. The true time that it is only failure is when you do not pick yourself up and get those ankles up, get those feet up, get those knees up, and keep marching, keep going. Because whether or not we have the business and we're working through these obstacles, you're still going to have obstacles at your job. So no matter what, there's going to be things coming. So I know that I'm so glad that you were able to join me here today. It's been such an honor. And I think more business owners, especially women, need to know that pivoting in your 40s, go for it, own it, because you are worthy. You are more than enough, and you can do anything you put your mind to. Even if you don't know how to do all the things, there's other people you can bring in who know how to do all the things. So if you could just kind of wrap us up and tell us a quick blurb about Orlando Family Fun and how it's going to help everybody in the Florida or even national area to give more to their families.
So Orlando Family Fun is an online resource that provides information on things to do in Orlando beyond the theme parks. So we all know about Disney, we know about Universal, we know about SeaWorld, and those are easy to do, but not everyone can afford them. And a lot of people want to do other things. And there's so many riches in the Central Florida area to take advantage of that I think a lot of people don't know about, because it's so hard to find that information. So I want to make it as easy as buying theme park tickets to find what else there is to do around Orlando on the weekend and in the surrounding areas as well, in terms of the springs or caves or national parks that there are out there. And so on Orlando Family Fun, we basically aim to be a one-stop shop. You don't need to go anywhere else when you're looking for something to do that weekend. We provide all the information that you need. And then you can just go and book the tickets or make the reservation for the place that you want to go. And originally we did start out for locals, but especially during the pandemic, when a lot of people were coming to Orlando because we were open, we started seeing some traffic from people nationally as well. And on our TikTok account, because we do have a TikTok, that is not a local based TikTok. So people from all over who are interested in coming to Orlando with their kids, or if they live in Orlando already and don't know everything, or they moved recently to Orlando. And because when I moved, all I knew was the theme parks. So just providing that information for people. Orlando doesn't have to be expensive, and it doesn't have to be difficult to plan what you want to do every weekend.
I love that you're bringing that to families, because you're right. So many people can't afford the theme parks these days. It's coming back, but we'll get there. So everyone, reach out to me and we'll get you in touch with Mikaela. Now you get an added bonus with Mikaela. She's got a social media marketing company, so she can help you there. She's learned it. And Orlando Family Fun, which is going to bring so much value and bring your family closer together and really give you those moments that you're going to look back on and just treasure. So thank you for joining me on the Principled Women in Business podcast. It's been a profound honor. And thank you so much for, really opening yourself up and being vulnerable and sharing with people, because really people feel like they're on an island.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I had a great time, and hopefully the information that I shared will be useful to someone.
Well, we're a team now, so we'll be able to help everybody grow.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mikaela. Let's talk soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Principled Women in Business podcast, where we're here to talk about the obstacles and the problems that we experience as business owners and really uncover and unravel true solutions that are going to take you to the next level. I am passionate about helping you get to the next level and break through your own goals. There's nothing more satisfying to me than to see you win. Make sure that you're reaching out to us on our numerous social media platforms. We have different content that we put everywhere. So look us up on Facebook. You can find me personally at the Solutionist Queen on Facebook and LinkedIn. We are also on YouTube, Minds, Odyssey, Instagram. You can literally find us all over the internet, and we are here. Now, if you want the true nuggets on how to grow and scale your business and really get that breakthrough knowledge that you need to move to the next level, make sure that you're hitting subscribe on my private email list, because that's the only place where I uncover these true golden nuggets that are going to make it or break it. So make sure you're getting on that private list, and I look forward to learning more about you and your business very soon.
And that wraps up another episode of the Principled Women in Business podcast. Follow us on social media to never miss an episode and to unlock full access to your trusted business solution center. Find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta, and YouTube. Till next time, stay strong and keep crushing. Find us at laurendulgeru.me or call 407-337-1117.